Good morning, Tickety Tacker Cub fans. Danny Rocket here, walking on a nice, beautiful morning, waiting for the post office to open, where I'm going to be sending people ranter hats. Not this ranter hat, the one with Cubes fan on it. You can get it over at the Sun Ranto website. But I didn't come on here to talk about hats and my getting to the post office too early problem. I'm here to talk about what's going on with the Cubs, and it's not good. They dropped the first one to a very good team in the Toronto Blue Jays up in Canada last night. So the good news is that only counts as like zero point 0.7 losses, I think, when you do the conversion. So that is helpful. But man, they are showing their frustration just right there out in the open. You got Kyle Tucker throwing his helmet around. That's not like him. Pete Crow Armstrong slamming his bat. It's the frustration is obvious, and the fans, they're feeling it. They're frustrated too because everything seemed to be going so well for a moment. Hey, look, the Brown line. Hello, Brown line. What a wonderful thing you do. Bring people from place to place very slowly and loudly. Ride a bike. But I'm not going to say anything against public transportation except for that we don't invest in it. Look at all that rust. So, anyway, I'm sure that was loud. Sorry about that. But that's life in the city. Well, you're waiting for the post office to open. So, no, the frustration is obvious, but none of this slamming your helmet is going to help anything. Ryan Sandberg had famous quotes on this and talked about that, you know, like one, they were like, go out there and show some emotion. Like he was going through a tough stretch and people told him he should show emotion. He said, well, why should I break my helmet? Then I'm just have a broken helmet. So not only am I in a slump, but my helmet's broken. So, and that makes all the sense to me. It doesn't make sense to toss things around. In fact, we frown on that behavior in most of the rest of society. Like if I had a tough day at work and I come home and I start throwing things around the house, like, you could go to jail for that. It's like, if you get violent, you could get hurt. Like, I think about all the if you've ever had experiences where things got violent, where you got violent or somebody around you got violent, things can go astray even if you didn't mean for that to happen. So that's stupid. Like, what if how many guys like punch a wall and are out for the rest of the season? You don't want to see that. Pete Crow Armstrong breaks a freaking bat over his knee. Next thing you know, he's like in the hospital because he severed his femoral artery or something like that. Just to take it to its natural extreme. But yeah, you can't have that kind of thing, and I don't know what you do with that. These guys are obviously feeling something. Do you need to do like group yoga, talk therapy, scream therapy? There's all sorts of therapies you can employ, but they don't have anybody. I wonder actually because I know John Baker used to be the Cubs mental skills coordinator, and I don't know if he would be somebody come in. Ken Revisa, if you think of his work with the players and the mental side of baseball, and it's mental. It's a mental sport. It's why we like it. It's if you cannot, if you are feeling some kind of frustration, anger, like you will be certainly blinded to uh, success. Like you will have this blind spot, and you will not succeed because you're blocked. You're up there. You're playing tight, as they say. And you already know this. You know this from personal experience. At times when you're under stress, how you'll forget something, or when you're rushing to do something because you're under pressure. You sometimes make massive mistakes or cut your finger when you're chopping up onions, or you're not on your game. And if you look at anything in your own life at times that you're not on your game, what does it come from? It's from stress. And then those stressors can sort of, aggregate and foment. And then it becomes about the stress. And then you have stress about the stress itself. And, it just rolls and rolls and rolls in a disadvantageous way. And that's where the Cubs are right now. And their offense is now they're able to get some relief from time to time. They face a pitcher that, they just kind of naturally do well against. We saw that in St. Louis where they put up big runs right away, and it seemed like they're going to come out of the slump, but they didn't, because it takes more than one game. It takes a mindset. It takes a better game plan, and you can't really prepare for feeling this way. It's just something that happens. You'll be rolling along. Life is good. You're feeling great about everything that's going on with you, your team, your job, your family, and then all of a sudden something comes along and wham. I said wham just as I started crossing the Brown Line train tracks. So I didn't want that to be onomatopoetic of me hitting the train. Might as well always look left and right. You never know. So, yeah, the Cubs, I don't know what they need. It might be individual. That's always individual. As a team, they need stuff. Individually, they need stuff. But they need to do something about this frustration. That's something you can control, is how you react to stressors. Recently, right now I'm wearing a heart monitor. I press a button if I feel like these symptoms I've been feeling. And I think a lot of it comes from being stressed out. I feel like, it's feeling of panic or something like that. And if you get panicky, you don't know what's going on. So like my idea has been, okay, sure, change your diet, do the things you need to do that's heart healthy, but also you need to change your mind about these things. Like, I can't let myself get all worked up in a way where I'm going to just freak out, and that's what the Cubs have to do right now. So it's the opposite. I know people want to see this emotion. Ooh, Craig Counsell needs to go out there and yell at everybody. No, that's not going to help. They're already hard on themselves for what's going on. What they need is the opposite. What they need is talk therapy. What they need is yoga. What they need is meditation. And I don't know that they're doing that. And Dansby with 2 errors last night. There's a Gold Glove shortstop. Like, this is a team that's mentally broken right now. The offense is broken. The only thing working right now is the pitching, which is the starting pitching. But it doesn't matter because you're not scoring any runs. You can't win 0 to -1. And it's anemic right now. So I do believe that they're going to snap out of it. I do. But I just think that the way they're going about it right now is pretty unfortunate. As I said, if you or I were to throw a tantrum like that at work, start throwing things around the office, I think we might have some HR meetings to go to very shortly. And maybe that's what the Cubs need. Maybe they do need somebody to come in, or maybe this is where, like, the balloon animals and the zoo animals and the birthday magicians and stuff like that. Maybe that's where Madden had it right. Just, you got to take the stress off. Remember that baseball is fun, and we're here to be entertained. And this isn't fun, and it's not fun watching the Cubs acting like this and looking so visibly frustrated. Even when Ben Brown gave up a home run late in the game last night, he looked like his puppy died, and that's sad to see because, just so much pressure is on these guys anyway. They're all trying to get a job in the major leagues. And when something like that happens, it's going to happen. He was in his 4th, 5th inning of work. They've relied so much more on Ben Brown than they ever thought they were going to have to. And he had to come in to piggyback for Assad, who was good until he gave up a 3-run blast. But even so, like, Javier Assad, his first start back, like, what do you expect? But, it's the expectations are super high with this team, and they all know that they have to be individually great in order to make the team great. And that was Jed's plan all along. He didn't give them a bench. He didn't he didn't replace Justin Steele when he got hurt. The Cubs have been negligent all season, and you're just kind of seeing it now. These things are cumulative, just like the stressors are cumulative to the point where somebody breaks. Like, that's why Kyle Tucker, he knows he's had a horrible month. He knows he's playing for a $500 million contract, and this is going to wreck it. He knows all these things. You think that helps for him to, like, hear it from the fans or hear it from the press or hear it from his manager? No, he needs the opposite. He needs love. He needs to figure something out. And PCA is just young, so
He's looking at Kyle Tucker. He's like, oh, I guess I should look like I'm mad. It's not good. Not good at all.